Hi, my name is Jack Roberts, and I want to thank you for helping us convince our Congress that they've got to enact this solution to the southern border that we are presenting to them by the American people. And I want you to join with me as we share this with our senators and congressmen and women. No one wins in this situation, but when we do this together, this solution, everybody, the world is better. Okay, it's an amazing solution that is before Congress now. They know that they could do this, and they refuse to act because together, if we all just gave in a little bit, we would make the world a much better place. So I'm asking, we the people, we're tired of this nonsense. And I will show you that it's just nonsense, that they switch sides, they do not care, or they're incapable, one or the other. But we're tired of this, and we're going to show these people they have up until the next election to solve these three problems. Or as our president says, you're fired. So we're going to create the American contract with Congress, and I'm going to explain why in a minute. Please note that I'm not editing this video. I'm going live. I'm sharing this because it is too important. I may make mistakes. I may stumble in my words, but I'll do my best to be as accurate as I can that you see here. These short videos will prove that one of two things. One, our Congress is either incapable, they don't know how to solve these three problems, or they choose not to solve these problems. In these videos, I will prove to you that you've been lied to by both Republicans and Democrats and the media, and have convinced to believe things that are simply not true. And you will see, I will show you how Republicans and Democrats, they change their positions on all these major issues every 20 or 30 years or so, because they care more about keeping their jobs than they do about solving these problems. And there are real solutions to all of this, real solutions to our southern border immigration problem. There's real solutions to our healthcare, our national debt, and our environment, and they refuse to enact on them. Yes, really, there are. Let's just take a look at these three issues, and I'm going to throw in the environment as a fourth. I'm a Christian man, and as a Christian, I believe we have a responsibility to be good stewards of this earth that God has given us. Okay, if you don't believe in God and you just want to take care of the earth, we got to take care of our earth. We're all on the same page with that. But let's take a look at these other three issues: our deficit and our debt, our health care, and our immigration policy. Again, I'm going to be speaking. I may have to take a sip of water or cough a little bit. I do apologize. I know I get excited and I tend to speak fast. I will try to slow myself down as well. So before we look at these three issues, I want you to take a look at President Trump, and let's just think about this. Let's look at this, a logical look with an open mind of President Trump, his campaign, and his 2 years in office. Again, think about this with an open mind, because Donald Trump was never even a mayor, let alone a governor, let alone a senator or a congressperson. Okay, he's never even been in politics. I don't even think he sat on a board of trustees. He may have, I don't know, in a government agency. I don't know, but he's never been anything serious in our government. Things happened to him from our government agencies that didn't make sense. They didn't treat him the way they should have treated them. And we're going to share all the things that happened to Donald Trump and said about Donald Trump and the results of Donald Trump right now. You know, people claim that, Donald Trump will never be president. Everybody said that. They laughed at him for that. Why did he decide to run for president? When they said if he wins, we will have World War III. They said he's a sexist. Okay. They said if he wins, the stock market will crumble. They say he colluded with Russia. They said will have Armageddon, and colluded with Russia is not a crime. And again, you'll see things that will make you question our government. They say he's a racist. Lately, they said he has manufactured a crisis at the southern border. During his campaign, there were top FBI officials, and this is true. This is, you can look it up. That they had a plan. These top officials had a plan to stop President Trump from winning the election, and they texted about it. We have a plan, to keep him from winning. And they got concerned, and they also had a backup plan if he did win. This is scary, folks. Okay? This is scary. Now, since Donald Trump has been president, things have been going great for our economy. Our unemployment is at its lowest level in almost 50 years. Even our Fed said that our economy is almost too good to be true. They raised our outlook twice in 2018. And we see the news. We see the job growth gains every month. We see new things and new information about what's going on in our economy. Now, they say he's racist, but yet he's done more for the African American community than any president recently. He got the jobless rate to a new record low. Same thing with Hispanic jobless rate. Unemployment rate, a new record low in October. Okay. Female unemployment is at their lowest level in a long time. Workers without a high school diploma is at their lowest levels in a long time. In December, our job growth surged by almost double of what they predicted. And the other thing is our wages are going up month after month, and they've gone up over 3% from a year ago. This is good news for us. We have an opportunity to turn this country around, and for the first time in many years, kids graduating college, the world is at their doorstep. They have an amazing opportunity, and we as a nation need to help them. Now, some concerns that I have, as you know from the picture when I started this video, I not only voted for President Obama, I paid and supported his campaign. And he really concerned me when he came out during the midterm election saying that, his administration started this growth. But that's simply not true. And let's just look at some of the facts. And this is all information that you can get on the internet. This comes from the National Federation of Independent Businesses. This is the CEA calculations. You can get this at the White House. This is the trend is calculated from 2012, November 2012 through November 2016. You could see how the optimism index changed dramatically right after Donald Trump was elected. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Every index that you can actually think of shows that things have gotten better since Donald Trump was elected president. And they all have their norms scheduled for 4 years of what they should do. And every time it goes above the norms. Every time it goes above the norms. People are coming into the workforce more than ever before, and they're getting jobs. Okay, it just keeps getting in better. Blue collar jobs. Now, I remember President Obama saying that some of these jobs are not coming back. What exactly, I don't know exact words, but he said some of these jobs are not coming back. And he said that Donald Trump said he ridiculed the president, saying he's going to negotiate a better deal. What's he going to do, wave a magic wand? He said these can't come back. But then he claims that it was his administration that brought these jobs back. Come on, sir, please. Have some integrity, sir. That's not the truth. I mean, you saw the results. Show us, if you're going to say that, prove it to us. I'll be more than happy to listen to you. But you know what? Why talk about the past? Let's look to the future. Our Congress has an opportunity to keep this economic surge going. Okay, they need to keep this surge going. Will they do it? We don't know. And because a strong U.S. economy, it boosts the growth. It boosts the growth worldwide. Yet there are people in Congress who just hate this president and refuse to do what's best for the people because they don't want the president to look like an all-star. And they convince these media personnel. These are people who are paid to make you believe things that are not true. Okay, that's what they do for a living. They're actors. So why does everybody hate this man? You see, Donald Trump, again, I don't know if I told you about the story with the he'd been in New York. I've been in all my life. I've been in New Jersey all my life, and I've known Donald Trump. He's been in the news most of my life. I remember a story where they needed to build an ice skating rink in New York, and they failed. The government failed. Bottom line, they called Donald Trump. He got it done under budget and ahead of schedule. He gets things done. And the only reason he came in, he doesn't need this job. He doesn't need to be the celebrity. He probably lost money because he became president. He did this because he's fed up with this nonsense of people switching, going back and forth. Okay, that's why we elected him. And the Democrats are so elected, then he started electing people on the far left. He doesn't need this job. He just wants to fix something. Now, to the people who think that we need to go to a socialist country, we are an amazing country and a republic. I will talk about socialism at another time because we have another major issue to deal with. See, as a nation, both Republicans and Democrats are sick and tired of the typical politicians, and we can't wait any longer. Our world, according to Senator Sanders, is in crisis with our environment, and we need to do something. Yet Senator Sanders refuses to do it. Neither do any of the Republicans or Democrats. They know they could fix it, but they won't, because they want to keep arguing about this so they can get another elected again. So again, we will never be a socialist country. We'll talk about that at another time. I can explain to you very quickly why getting rid of the Electoral College is dangerous. I can explain to you in simple terms why healthcare is not a right. And I can explain to you why free college would not work. And I also need to share with you that history teaches us. Just another statue was ripped down. Stop. You have to stop. We need those reminders to teach us where we've been from. And yes, they need to be in plain sight so people could see them every day to remind us of where we've been and where we have come. Okay? And we citizens, we're not educated on our history. And that's why the politicians have taken advantage of us. We're not even educated on our recent history, that we don't know that the Democrats and Republicans simply switch sides every 20 to 30 years. All right, let's take a look at the really quick about this popular vote. And in the 2016 elections, Hillary Clinton had more votes than Donald Trump, and she believes, and many people believe, we should go by the popular vote. And I will show you why that is not correct. In California, Hillary Clinton won by 3 million compared to the 2.8 million that she beat Donald Trump by. So this one state could basically throw an election if we had a popular vote. Now let's look at this state of California. Out of all the states, they have the highest income tax in the country. They also have the highest poverty rate in the country. They also have the most debt of any state in this country. And let's just take a look at the electoral map, because it wasn't all of California that changed it. Okay, it was just part of California. Okay, that changed this election. Okay, half of California, if you look at it, basically almost half of California voted for Donald Trump. Now let's just look at this electoral vote, and I'll explain very quickly, and I'll give you two quick, simple examples so you can have an understanding of how important the Electoral College is. Let's just say that the blue areas are where people believe in only heterosexuality. They believe that homosexuality should be banned and outlawed. The rest of the red are people who are active, they're homosexuals, and they believe that homosexuality should be, it's none of anybody's business except for the two people. Okay? These people right here, again, this half of a state can decide everything and end the lifestyle of every single one of these people living in these red states. And that is not fair. Okay? It is not fair for this little sliver of people to have a rule over everybody else. Does that make sense? Another way, simplistic form to put this is the blue spot are where all wolves live. It's wolves only. And the red spots are where sheep live, just sheep. Okay? If a national vote, the wolves vote that it's okay for wolves to eat sheep. The wolves would win and the poor sheep would be wiped out. Does that make sense why our founders had a republic, an electoral college, and not just a democracy? Okay, so we know that the far left is upset with it. We're all sick of it, typical politicians, and we know the electoral college would be a dangerous move. But let's talk about healthcare. Someone said that healthcare is a right. It is not a right, and very simply, if You have a person who decides that he's going to eat fatty foods, bad food, and not exercise. He goes to the doctor because we're paid to go. He's paid. He doesn't have to pay. The doctor tells him he's got to exercise and eat better. He goes, I don't care. Goes to the doctor again, and now the doctor has to give him medication. He doesn't care, keeps doing it. Now he has to get a surgery and gets a stent valve. It's not a right, it's our responsibility. And it is our responsibility as a nation to make sure everybody can afford health care or some basic health care. Okay? And we need to have something, we need to work it out, but it's not a right. Same thing with free college. Free college won't work again. It's very simple. You're giving something for nothing, you don't appreciate it, and you don't take care of it. I agree with you that we need to lower the prices in college. It's out of control, the tuition, but giving it away for free is not the answer. And lastly, we got to stop destroying history. Okay, again, I understand that you're fed up with the politicians, but we need to learn from history. Um, you know, right now there was a attack in Syria, and ISIS claimed the attack. Um, in history, if you actually read some history, do you know that uh, there's a book. We've been fighting ISIS. You know, they've attacked us in Syria, and do you know how long we've been fighting ISIS or radical Islam? Think about this. There's a book. It's called Thomas Jefferson and the Tripoli Pirates. We've been fighting radical Islam for over 200 years, and yet our politicians don't seem to uh, pick up on this. We citizens are not educated on our history, but especially our recent history. And that is going to blow your mind, because if we actually work together, we could accomplish great things. And we can, and we must do this now, because we are in a crisis. We have a crisis at our southern border. We have a crisis in our environment. We have a crisis with our national debt. Let's talk about that first. Okay, we've been having an issue with the debt since the 1970s and before, actually. We haven't had a balanced budget in almost 20 years, and over 20 years. The typical politicians have failed to solve this problem for the past 50 years. And the fact is, the problem has gotten worse and worse with our typical politicians. Just look at this from this chart that shows our deficit. This is 1970, when we got rid of the gold standard. Okay, that's when we did this. And here's our debt. It went up every single year. Even when we had 4 years of a budget surplus, our debt still rose. These politicians have done nothing except make it worse. It's gotten worse every year since, we keep doing the same thing. No wonder President Trump said we got to stop and fix this, because if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, you know what some people call that? Insanity. We have an insane government. We've got to fix it now. Now, just take a look to give you a better idea. The national debt when President Obama, and I'm not picking on him, I'm just showing you in 8 years how things have changed. Our national debt in January of 2008 was $10.7 trillion. In January of 2016, it almost doubled to almost $20 trillion. Okay, we have to fix this. We have to do something. Let's look at healthcare. Did you know that in 1970 there was a Republican senator who introduced a bill to extend Medicare or Medicare to all? Again, and President Nixon, they were fighting for a health program, to get Medicare for all, and they introduced several bills. Not one single bill would get the support of the committee chairman. The Democrats blocked this. In 1993, President Clinton, along with First Lady Hillary Clinton, she was taking the initiative to have a healthcare system, and the Republicans blocked it. And this is kind of sad of why they did this. Here's William Crystal, who said they did it because the bill would revive the reputation of Democrats as a generous protector of middle-class interests, and it will at the same time strike a punishing blow against Republican claims to defend the middle class by restraining government. We can't fix healthcare. We've tried, and they refuse to fix it. Again, Democrats and Republicans. Again, this just shows a few years, but it keeps going up every single year. We've had this crisis at the wall immigration problem for almost 40 years. Now, did you know that in 1980, we had the exact same problems of people coming into our border just because they wanted to work? And did you know that in 1980, both President Ronald Reagan, at the time, well, they weren't at the time, but candidates, and now they were together the ticket of the Reagan and George Bush ticket, they wanted open borders between Mexico and the U.S. They wanted them to have special workbooks permits where they could go back and forth. And you could go look it up. Okay, it's also on our website. I'll give you at the end if you want. It was, he wanted this, and we've done nothing in 40 years. And in those 40 years, things have just gotten worse because Congress refuses to fail, or they failed to solve this problem in almost 40 years. 3 issues, and they failed to do anything except make things worse in 40 years. Okay, the problem gets worse with these typical politicians. Again, here's just a short example up until 2010, where we have more illegal immigration than anybody else. It's so bad now that we do not know who's illegal, who's not illegal, and how many people are here illegally and where they came from. Okay? Now, I don't mean to pick on Senator Sanders, but I'm just going to share some of the quotes from him and the other senators who are opposing President Trump. Again, this big one here, Senator Sanders says, Mr. President, do you want to know what a real national emergency is? And scientists tell us that if we don't combat climate change aggressively, the severe damage done to our country and planet will be irreversible. Now that's a crisis. Senator Sanders, the American people brought to you a solution to this, but you won't stand behind it, will you? When will you stand behind this to solve this crisis? You could be a hero. Will you be a hero for the American people, Senator Sanders? The same goes to every single senator out there. New Jersey, Senator Booker, Senator Menendez, every single senator. Will you be a hero and do what's right for the American people and the world? Now, crickets. Here's a list of the senators and politicians. You can find them on my website, of all of them who agreed to do this, and I'll share it with you in a moment. Again, there's no crisis at the border. People have said that President Trump has manufactured a crisis at the border. Well, let me ask you one question, Senator Sanders, Speaker Pelosi, Senator Schumer, and everybody else who said this is not a real crisis. How many children need to die at our southern border before it becomes a crisis? Please just give me the number, okay? I want the number. How many children need to die, okay? I will share in another video that every senator and congressman that's been in office for more than 2 years knows there's a travesty of justice where children of American citizens in the United States are being abused and dying so individual states can profit. And I'll talk about that on a whole other video, because we want to know how many children need to die before it becomes a crisis. See, I think one child death is a crisis, okay? And lastly, Senator Sanders, you talk about the wealth differential, okay? Again, there's a solution that would reach to every one of these things, but will you stand behind this? Now let's talk about the solution, okay? We need a border wall because we know that our government has failed to do anything, and we're in a crisis mode now. We have people pouring into our nation undetected. Now, Speaker Pelosi said it's immoral to have walls. We're not creating a wall. We need to create a fence. And our fence is going to be not just a fence. What we are going to be creating, President Trump, and to the members of Congress, and to the citizens of the United States, we're not creating a fence. We're creating a southern border, international, clean energy, welcoming system. Okay? We're going to welcome our neighbors. And let me ask you this. Let's just put it in simple terms. Any congressman or woman, any senator, and Speaker Pelosi, tell me if you would do this. Would you have your children and grandchildren? I want them to get on a plane, fly out of any country in the Middle East. Let's just pick Saudi Arabia. But on this flight, they're going to announce it the week before, starting today. The only necessary thing you need to get on this flight to the United States is the money to pay for the ticket. You do not need to show any ID. You do not need to check your luggage. You can bring anything on. Doesn't make a difference. We're not going to check. Everybody get on board. Just need to pay for a ticket. We're going to the United States. Let me ask you, if this is immoral, this wall is immoral, and having a entrance system where they can be vetted, somewhat vetted, would you send your children and grandchildren on this plane? Of course not. We don't want to build a wall. We want to just build a security screening gate, okay? A checkpoint, security checkpoint, just like we have at the airport. We could have them along the borders here as we're building this wind turbines, okay? We could build wind turbines along with the wall. It would take 583,000 wind turbines. Again, it would take up the size, look at here, the size of Rhode Island. Here's Rhode Island right here, and here is our southern border, okay? We can do this. It's been looked at. Don't let anybody tell you that it's impossible, but it's not, because it's not. Now let's just look at the cost of just doing the turbines alone, not including the wall. For 583,000 turbines at $150,000 a piece, that would cost about $87 billion. Okay? But again, we're not doing just turbines. Remember, we're doing turbines and solar panels. This is how many solar panels would be needed to provide free energy, clean energy to the entire country. And here's the southern border again. We do a combination of solar panels, a wall, solar panels, and wind turbines, okay? And if we're smart, we would work with our neighbors to the south, Mexico, to do a joint venture where both the United States and Mexico can have 100% clean energy. Okay, how are we going to pay for this? Senator Sanders again spoke to us. Okay, let's take his idea. He's upset that the richest people in America, who caused a lot, in essence, have caused a lot of the environmental issues. And I will show you real quickly. Let's just take Mr. Bezos, the CEO of Amazon. He's going through a divorce right now, but even so, him and his wife will be two of the richest people in America. At the ex-wife, even after the divorce, so they split everything 50-50, they will be very, very wealthy. Amazon delivering books and packages to everybody in the country and world, using fuel and destroying our environment. Okay, and it goes down the list. Everybody, became billionaires because of this country and because of the fossil fuels and what this country has afforded them. Okay, let's just take a look at that now. According to Forbes staff, this was 2016, so hopefully there's more than this. But there's 540 billionaires in the United States. And they have a combined net worth of $2.4 trillion. Okay? Now, $2.4 trillion or 2.3 is a lot of money. And all of these people made their money because of the United States, and we need them to step up to the plate one time to help the world. We need them to be heroes for the world. A one-time 10% tax on the U.S. billionaires would generate 230, almost 240, not thousand, not million, $billion. Okay? A one-time tax, 10% tax on all the U.S. billionaires would generate, on what they are worth, $240 billion. Let's just, let's just go easy on them. Let's, I don't believe in taxing people. I believe they earned their money, but they did use the resources to do it, and we need their help. So a one-time 5% tax on the U.S. billionaires would generate almost $120 billion. Remember, that's more money than the, at $150,000, it would be $58 billion. So we're okay here, right? So this one-time tax, now how would let's just look at the poorest of the billionaires. There's one person who just has $1 billion. So that 5% tax on this one person who's so poor that he only has $1 billion would be $50 billion. Now, if that billionaire would just take the remaining $950 million and invest it and get a 5% interest, this billionaire will make most of this money back in just a little over a year. Now, how do we do this, people? I want you to, again, go back in history a little bit. Remember where I showed you that, in our country, there was 4 years where we had a surplus, okay? It started in 1998. We had a surplus with President William Clinton was our president, okay? But what happened there is there's a book that came out. It's called Contract with America, where these politicians promised to do some things. They ultimately failed, but having a Republican Congress, and we did amazing things here. We can do this. Okay, but the contract with America didn't work. We need to fix it. What we need to have to get this done is we need the people of America's contract with Congress. And this very simple thing, what we demand from everybody in Congress is you need to fund and start building the southern border international clean energy welcoming gate system. Okay? And with all income generated going back into clean energy. So we could start the project, sell the energy, and then use that money to finish the project. Okay? Secondly, we need a balanced budget. Since you refuse to balance budget, we need an amendment. Whereas you do not get paid unless you have a balanced budget. And you resign if you cannot balance a budget. You must balance a budget and stop increasing taxes. We have too much waste in government as it is. And lastly, we need an affordable health care plan that covers pre-existing conditions. And we have a safety net for those who cannot afford it and do not have an employer-sponsored health care. We need this fixed, okay? And very simply, you have until the 2020 election, or we simply vote out every single incumbent politician, whether you're Republican or Democrat. We don't care. We need these problems fixed. President Trump will work with you to solve all of these problems. Start now. So, to sign this contract with Congress, I want you to go to their website, How to Succeed in the Trump Economy, because together we can tell Congress what to do and we all can succeed. Now, and then I want to cut this video short. It's been almost 30 minutes. In the next video, I will share some of these facts that I told you that you believe, the majority of you believe that they're simply not true. And this will blow your mind. I also will show you how we became the greatest nation on earth and what I'll show you exactly when and why the downturn started and what caused it. Okay, and I will show you how both Democrats and Republicans are allowing thousands of children to be abused just because states and their friends are making a profit. This is serious stuff, and I'm going to share with that in the next one. And lastly, this is why this will never be on the news, because I consider myself to be like a libertarian. Sort of in the middle, meaning I'm an MS. I always believed that CNN was far left and Fox News was far right, and MSNBC was the one that's in the middle. And I've been watching MSNBC for quite some time. Quite some time. And I like Morning Joe is actually called Scarborough Country First. I mean, I'm biased towards them, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. But I will share my formula on how to watch cable news and other news outlets so you can get to the truth. Now, we need to act now. Let's get this done as people. Let's tell Congress now. Send this to your, contact your House of Rep and contact your congressman. It's very easy. If you don't know the phone number, you can contact your House of Representative through the switchboard at 202-225-3121. They can connect you to the correct person. You can contact your senator through switchboard at 202-224-3121. Okay, and you can also go to this website, usa.gov/elected-officials. Okay, that's where you can go to get this information, and you can do all the we need to do this now. So tell your officials right now that we want you to fund and start building the Southern International Clean Energy Welcoming System. Let's do the people's, tell them we want to do the people's bipartisan Southern Wall Agreement, and tell them now. They all know about it. Let's take action. And let's do it now. We could have this solved in 2 days, and everybody can be back to work, and we can be on our way to having free energy, which will benefit everybody, clean energy, which will benefit the world, and we could be a beacon of light showing how people with different philosophies can step up and work together. Why won't the officials do this? Because one, they'll make Donald Trump look like a hero, and they don't want him to win again. They have something to hide. That's the only representation. That's the only thing I can think of. Think about this. If they were to do this, the entire Congress would be reelected again in 2 years. Everybody would be reelected in 2 years. They would be the heroes of the world. Let's do this. Let's do it now. Thanks. I'm Jack Roberts. Let's get this done.